Byond exists to define purpose through holistic mentoring. At Byond, we will assist you to achieve success, enjoy inner peace, and live your best life. Basically, we're here to inspire you to heal and transform. Byond umbrella consists of Byond Talk, Byond Virtual Learning Space, Byond Coaching and Mentoring Services, and Byond Online Shop. For more information, visit us at www.sandraturgott.com or contact us at byondonline@gmail.com.
Hello there. Good evening, Sandra.
Hello there, Aaron. Good evening. How are you?
I'm very well, very well. Glad to see you on this beautiful Friday. It's still sunny out here.
It's nice.
Enjoying this the season that's about to begin, called spring, and longer days and more walks, more trail walks.
Yeah,
beautiful
more vitamin C.
Vitamin D, yes.
Vitamin D or vitamin C?
And vitamin C.
And vitamin C. Go on now, Aaron. Vitamin C. Vitamin D, of course.
Of course. We need that vitamin C to boost up the immune system along with the vitamin D.
Definitely need that. And vitamin D.
Very timely, very timely.
So how has your week been?
My week's been good. You know, it was a long week. I had a short day today. Came home and had a power nap and went out for a walk, got some sunshine on my face, kind of touch up the tan a little bit, and worked up a little sweat. So pumped up, ready to go.
I know. I worked till 4, so I kind of rushed home and rushed on, but it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good.
Excellent.
So we're talking about relationship, but before we start, did you want to open us up with your little spiel?
Absolutely. It wouldn't be a show if we didn't have this little spiel. Yes. For those of you joining us for the first time at Byond Talk, we welcome you and we appreciate you joining us today. And you're probably wondering, what is this all about? Who is Byond Talk? Byond Talk is a social mentoring forum designed to engage our community in thought-provoking conversations about real-life issues, triumphs, pain, grief, success. This space is designed to inspire you and to foster transformation and healing. We believe life is one big classroom where teachers and learners are interchangeable. And our mission is to inspire you to go after your healing so you can transform. And we know transformation is very important at this point in time globally. For what's going on, it's important that people connect with their higher self and their higher being to rise above the negativity that's going on in this planet and to stand strong in who you are. And we also know that one of the greatest tragedies in life is for us to lose our authentic self and to accept the version of you that is expected by everyone else. So again, I'm glad you could join us.
Yes, we're so happy that you're joining us. Come on, guys. Come on, log on, watch us. The show is not a show without you. So, Aaron, are you sharing? Are you sharing the show?
We're sharing.
You are? Are you sharing? Oh, you're one of those, you took yourself off Facebook kind of guy.
Lot of mercy.
Should I call you out?
Not your business now.
Should I call you out? So we call you out before we call our guest on.
I think I'm gonna get a glass of water.
I'm not gonna call you out. Today I'm trying to share here, but today we're talking to Karen and Donald Pollock. Right. And Karen is my longtime friend. And they're both living in Alberta.
Okay.
I think Donald is in Ontario at the moment, but they will give us some more gist on their story. So nice. And Karen, you know, she's a long hauler. She's been married. She's young, but she's been married for a very long time. And nice. And I think it's going to be sweet conversation because she has a lot to say about marriage and love and commitment and staying and staying the course. So and we want to talk about that for those people who are thinking that they're tired of staying the course. because we know last week we talked about divorce rate being so high, especially over the pandemic. And Karen is going to try to help us navigate how to stay friends while being husband and wife.
Nice.
I don't know anything about that, Aaron, but you know something about that. So,
what do you mean you don't know anything about that?
I see, Aaron. Why do I know about that? But my good friend, she has a lot to say about that. So without no further ado, we're gonna I did mention Donald. Did I not say Karen and Donald?
Karen and Donald, yes, you did.
Of course. There's no Karen without Donald.
That's right.
Karen and Donald are gonna come on and to join us now, Aaron.
Awesome.
Yeah. So let's have them.
Multitask. There we go.
We're waiting for our host to send out our guest.
Okay, they'll be joining us shortly. So it's going to be a pretty interesting conversation, where we can see an example of, two people uniting and making it work, so I'm pretty excited to hear about that and to share that with our viewers. You always hear about the bad, and ugly in terms of relationship, but I think it's also good to show a different side, of people that have gone or are going the distance, not perfect, but they find a way of making things work, in their own space, and I think that's pretty exciting, when two people can come together and make life work, because it is, because it is a lot of work, right?
It is. Relationship is a whole lot of work. Definitely. And we have some people watching us. We want to shout out to all of our viewers who are chiming in. We're so happy you're here, and we invite you to join the conversation. Talk with us. Where is Karen and Donald?
Yeah, so we're just having some little technical difficulties, but we promise our guests will join us shortly, and we will be engaged in a very inspiring conversation. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of little nuggets along the way that, we could apply, and, some aha moments, that can really help us to,
While we wait for Aaron, tell us about your journey in marriage. How do you find that?
Well, I've been married a few times, as you know, 3 to be exact. And the first time, I was really young. I was 22, and kind of really didn't have any direction. It was just something that I found myself in. Looking back, I don't think people should find themselves in a marriage, find themselves in a relationship. I think there's a certain level of self-awareness that a person must have, and responsibility, for themselves. Hey, there's Karen.
Hey.
How are you? Good. Good. Right.
Okay.
We had some technical difficulties, but glad we're back on track.
Yes.
So here are our guests, Donald and Karen Pollock. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you so much for coming on.
For having us.
Yeah.
We're so excited to talk to you. Aaron was telling me his story, and then you guys come on and
by the bell.
Yeah, well, we were listening. We were listening backstage. Good conversation.
I
you know what? It sounds like a good story, and you know what? I don't mind finishing it.
Well, I don't mind telling it. I've told it often enough that I really don't sweat when I tell it anymore. It just flows naturally. And that's who we are. We should be able to tell our story without any reservation. Just be ourselves and just speak like it's just two of us in the room, and we're just having a nice conversation, and we're just, you know, having a heart to heart, and there's no judgment, right? There's, you know, it's a story. It's your story, and we have to own it.
Yes,
Right?
I agree.
Yeah.
So you want to continue to tell us before our guests introduce themselves? Just finish up. We want to hear.
Yes, we want to hear Aaron.
Yeah, to make a long story short, you know, when you're young, you think you know everything, but what you don't realize is there's so much more to learn with life. You know, I was 22 making decisions, had a lot of unresolved conflict that I wasn't aware of, didn't have a grasp on, wind up making a mess of my life, and then having to unlearn and relearn, you know, how to be an authentic person and to bring goodness into my space, and continue to grow and develop and then share with others what you learned and make a difference.
Wow, that was good. That was good. I know the whole story, but that the short version was still good. Karen and Donald, I'm going to invite you guys to tell our viewers who you are as a couple. So who is Karen Pollock and Donald Pollock, or Donald Pollock and Karen Pollock? Who is this beautiful, wonderful couple? Tell us.
Well, I guess, should I go first, Donnie?
Ladies first.
Ladies first.
Okay.
Sorry to intervene there.
No, that's okay. So I want to say first and foremost, just to pick up on something that you said, Aaron, that in the intro, that we're not perfect, and that this marriage is not a perfect marriage. I don't know if there's any marriage out there that is considered a perfect marriage. So we've had lots of bumps, lots of rolls, lots of turning over on our back and fighting to get back up. So this has been our journey. And you know, we're going to share more with you, but we've been married 23 years.
Nice.
And much like you, we married young. We married very young. So, you know, we made our set of mistakes too. It's just that we're still married. So, as I said, we'll get more into that.
Yeah.
But Donald, you have something to say, love?
I think you said it all, honey. Well, you know what? You know, as Karen said, that we got married quite young, and we were madly in love, and that was one of the most important steps we wanted to make together. And we, you know, after finishing high school, and she started going to university. But even before that, I mean, the summer of that year when we finished high school, we just went straight to get married, and you know, just to seal a deal and everything like that. So.
Wow.
We didn't waste any time, because when you want to seize that moment. I mean, to me, I don't really want to, what do you call it now, get ahead of myself, but we'll discuss that a little bit later into our discussion. Right. But it has been wonderful. It has been. We have our rough time, and like any marriage, I don't know of any perfect marriage out there.
Yeah.
They're perfectly imperfect.
Yeah.
And that's some really honest examples, if you may. There's no perfect marriage. Being married so young, and I know my friend here. We talk, so I know my friend is real, and this is her topic. She loved this topic, and she lived this thing. So talking about relationship and marriage,
we've had many a prayer session over this kind of
stuff. But you know what I said to Aaron this week? I said, every time we spoke marriage, you spoke love. You said, I love my husband. And this is the most powerful thing. You always say that, and I always listen and say, "Wow, it doesn't matter how mad you are at him. You always end with, but I love my husband. I love him."
I wasn't aware that I exude that, but that is the truth. I do.
I
Even
know.
sometimes when I can't stand him, I don't like him, I still love him.
You still love him.
Sometimes I don't want to love him, and I still love him.
She's
and I know he feels the same way too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
and you always say he loves God, Sandra. He loves God.
That is
God is so easy to love him.
Yeah.
And I remember, and those that usually touches me. He loved God, Sandra. He loved God so much. That makes me love him so much. So I'm not going to tell you a story. I want you guys to tell the story. So we're going to start with, tell us. I know you kind of touch on how you met and married young, but tell us as much as you can that you feel that you could share, so others can kind of hear how you journeyed for 23 years and what it's been like in your own words, and what encouragement you can give to our listeners who are in marriage, who have maybe married young, who are having bumps and feeling like they just want to give up. They want to throw the towel.
So I know my husband is nervous. I could see it on his face. So I'll start. But
warm up.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll start. But Donald, you help me tell the story, right? Yeah. So basically, we met in high school. I was 17. Donald was 19. And it's that whole thing is a story in itself, how we ended up meeting. But two people who we were friends with, who we're no longer friends with, set us up. And they were boyfriend and girlfriend, and they set us up so that we were both mutual friends of those people. Donald was good friends with the guy, and I was good friends with the girl. And they set us up so that they could double date with each other, and their two good friends could come along with them. And they knew that we had a lot in common. They knew that we both were Jesus lovers, right? So they thought, we'll have a lot in common. So what happened was we took a little bit of time to get to know each other, because Donald was he liked me so much that, the Donald, actually the same Donald you're seeing on the screen now is the same Donald that was then. He couldn't talk. He couldn't talk. And it took me a while to at first I didn't really like him, but because I liked him as a friend. He was very kind, he was very sweet, but I didn't see his personality because he wasn't freely being himself. And so long story short, when he started to reveal that part of himself to me, that he's very funny, he's very just charismatic, and all of those wonderful parts of him he started to show, and I just I started to like him. And so we started to date. And long story short, we dated for about 3.5 years. Right, hon? Am I getting the times right?
If my memory is serving me right, I think we dated for around 4 years.
Yeah. Okay, maybe. So we dated for about 4 years. But I will tell you that both of us, we were both Christians. We were both baptized Christians. And what happened was we spent so much time together. We loved the Lord, but we slipped, and we fell into, we just fell. And yeah. Okay. So using Christian terms, right? So what happened is that we ended up having, I ended up getting pregnant, and we had our first daughter. So I was pregnant with our first daughter. We had talked about marriage very early on in our relationship, but because we were so young, we didn't really we didn't see a way where that could happen. So we didn't. But we had talked about marriage pretty much all throughout our relationship. And then after we got pregnant, we said, we're going to put everything on pause with the marriage talk, because we didn't want to, even although we were very young, we were still wise enough to know we don't want to rush and do something just because we're in a crisis. Mm-hmm. So we decided to wait and hold off. And, short after our daughter was born, we were still together. We were still going along well. And we decided that we're going to get married. So we married 6 months after we had our first child. And now that child is 24 years old. So that was a huge part of our journey. And that's pretty much. Do you have anything else to add, Han? I can't do all the talking.
No, well, definitely. When I'm just going to piggyback on what you were saying and try to, be as transparent as I can. But regarding that, I mean, when we just met in high school, the first thing I think Karen was laughing about it, and I think she know what I'm going to be saying. The first thing I said to her, I think it was like a month or maybe a couple of weeks. I said to her, I said, you know what, I'm going to marry you.
Wow.
I told her that, and she probably thinking, wow, what is this guy? I just met you. What are you talking about?
I actually went back to one of my friends and told him he's crazy.
He's a crazy guy.
Wow. No, but it was, you know what? I think it was intended to be, because when we started connecting, and we had so many things in common.
Right.
So pretty much, I knew just by looking at her and her personality, I knew that personality would fit perfectly for me as an individual. And we have so much thing in common that I didn't want to even play around and miss out on that.
Right.
Living my life without her. So I just say, you know what? We have a saying that what you leave too long will serve two persons, because
would serve two masters.
Exactly. So I didn't want to procrastinate.
Right.
I went and I just, we just started talking about what our future. We were looking towards a future together, and it wasn't something that we were, scared of, venture into.
Yes.
It's just we had a bit of hiccup along the way, but we eventually, seal the deal and make it happen.
Nice.
Nice.
Wow. Well, I appreciate your wisdom, listening to you, Karen, at such a young age, and just to do, I mean, we're all at different stages, right, in our development, as young people. But I appreciate the state of mind that you guys had at that young age, and I'm saying that just because I went the opposite, and there's a lot of things that I guess young people are blind to at that point, at that age. They don't know themselves. They might have certain emotions, and they think it's, that's all there is, and they follow that path. And there's so much things that can go wrong at such an early age. And I know for me, it just went wrong. But I want to commend you guys, for having that wisdom. Donald, you talk about knowing, that inner. I think it's pretty powerful, and it's beyond the flesh. You just knew within yourself, right, that this is the one, and I'm going to do everything possible to make it happen. So and to stay the course this long, I think it's pretty awesome. Very awesome.
It's amazing. So what can you tell people who are married, and just your story is so powerful, and you stay together through thick or thin. What can you tell? What kind of wisdom can you share about being on this journey called marriage, called friendship? Because I know you guys well. I've visited you. You're my friend. And I know that you're more than a couple. You're friends. You're like friends, best friends. And I wanted to talk to you about this because I've seen it, and I like to talk about what I've seen. I don't like to get secondhand, and I've seen it. I know that you guys are buddies. So tell me, how do you stay buddies and just stay so true to one another while having your your ups and downs?
You know what? I think one of the things that help us along the way, because as Aaron was saying that he got married young, and there is a lot of stuff that he didn't know at that age. And I think for everybody, and I'm speaking generally, most people that engage in a marriage are ignorant. Because, and I'll tell you why, because based on the years that I've been married and what I have learned and I've seen even in people that have taken the journey ahead of me, I come to realize that marriage is a process. It's a growing process. Everything that you will ever know about it, you have to stay the course, sit in the class, do all those exams, and
take the test.
It tells me that there is times, when you're in a classroom and it's so intense. Two things you can do: you can either sit it out and study hard to pass that exam, or you can quit.
Right.
I like it.
So for us, what really helped us a lot is that because in the first, I think the first or the second year of our being married, we had some difficult times, and
it was actually the second.
The second.
We're not. I know most people say the first year of marriage is the most difficult, but for us, the first year was really, really good. The first year was really good. The second and third were rough, really rough.
Yeah.
Wow. And it's funny because somebody just asked that. Hi, Karen. Pepper Brooks. Her name is Karen, but she doesn't like me calling her that. So hi, Pepper Brooks.
Hi, Pepper.
Hi, Pepper. She said, how quickly in the dating phase or courtship did you have hiccups, and how did you overcome them? So you actually were just talking about this. I wanted to shout out.
Well, so in the dating phase, we had a lot of hiccups, right? Because we're both a couple of faith, we wanted to stay pure until we were married, but we had a lot of difficulty with that, and we had a lot of struggle with that, right? And then we wanted to both save ourselves for each other, right? But what happened was that we ended up having our daughter, before we were even married. So that was a huge struggle. And not only just in our faith context, but also in the context of being so young. Before I was even, I had dreams, I had ambitions for myself, and Donald did as well have for himself. And we had a child I was 21 and he was 23. So this was before we were finished our schooling. And for Donald, his training, so we had to start living life as adults before we were, when everybody else is kind of in that in-between phase, we were thrust into adulthood. So that was our major hiccup during dating. And then during marriage, there was a lot of challenges. Mainly, I could tell you most of our challenges throughout our marriage relate back to communication. Yeah. Right. Would you agree, Annie? You're not.
I agree 110%.
Yeah.
So tell us about that, the communication. How was that? How is it now?
So that's so funny that you should ask that. Yeah. So communication is always a work in progress for us. And I think what people don't realize is you're taking two people that are wounded, right? In some way, I know not all of us have traumatic experiences in our childhood. Both Donald and I come from trauma backgrounds, right? We both have traumatic experience in childhood. So, but even if you don't have that, marriage is taking two wounded people and bonding them together. And you have to spend the rest of your life working to heal yourself and to heal each other. So that has been the challenge. And so there is times when we just miss each other, like in communication. I mean, we just don't get it. There might be things that he says that are a trigger to me, and he can't understand why I would react that way. Right. And there's things that I do that are triggering to him, and he can't understand why. And I can't understand why he would react that way. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it's been a long journey to understand each other. And even in ways where we think we understand each other, we're still learning each other. Even after 23 years, we're still learning each other. We can even talk about, because Donald and I were actually talking about this week. We were rating our marriage, where it's at now. And we were rating it this year compared to last year. And Donald was asking, where do you think our marriage is now? Was last year. And I said, our marriage was, I would say, at like a 3 out of 10. But no, we both agreed. I asked him back, and he pretty much said he was like, yeah, 1 or 2.
Yeah. Right? She don't play, which is grading.
But you said 1 or 2 as well. Yeah. You said 1 or 2 as well, right, Donald?
Mm-hmm. I did.
Yeah.
So, I'm just kidding.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how do you work in repairing, always replenishing, repairing, what do you call it? Plowing up and making it flourish again, because it's been 23 years.
Yeah. So during your marriage, you're going to constantly have things thrown at you, different circumstances, different situations. Yeah. And it's like a pressure test, right? And it's like you're going to reach a point where the marriage is like, it can come to a point of explosion, if you don't endure those pressure tests, because there's so many things. Through the first maybe 5 years or so through our marriage, or actually maybe longer even, we had challenges with family and setting boundaries and, to protect our marriage. Mm-hmm. And we had challenges with just regular everyday life, financial challenges, which we know finances is like the number one cause of divorce, right? So there was a lot of challenges, and you can imagine, because we didn't start off established. So finances was like a theme for a long time in our marriage, and financial difficulty, I should say, was a theme for a long time in our marriage. And like even up till recently, the latest challenge has been living long distance from each other, being apart because of work circumstances. So Donald is currently in Ontario working, and I am here in Alberta, and that has been a challenge. And that distance really exposed gaps in our marriage. It really exposed it, and we had to face them, and we had to work on them. I think when you're together in the same space, sometimes you go on cruise control. And you don't put as you can neglect each other and take each other for granted. But when you're apart, it really exposes that, because when you're doing a long distance relationship, you have to make the extra effort to make time for each other and to do special things for each other and all of these kinds of stuff. It's not just the regular day cooking and cleaning and feeding him a meal, or him cooking for me and feeding me. It's not that, right? You have to find new and innovative ways to connect.
So, very good. Very good. Donald. Donald.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I love this. I'm loving the story. And I just want to talk a bit about the communication, and Karen mentioned the trauma. At what point did you guys become aware of the impact your trauma was having on your relationship, and what did you do? How did you address that?
Well, we learned that quite early in our marriage, and one of the things that we did, we talk and we listen to each other, and one of the things that really helped me a lot as an individual is that I was exposed to, I don't want to go into details for time constraint, but I was exposed to information that I never knew anything about relating to marriage. I never heard that in my church. I never heard it anywhere else. I was just sitting with this guy one day, and I was in training, and he was listening to the radio station. And I'm saying, what is this I'm listening to? So I asked him what the station was, and then he told me what it was. And then every day I start keying in on that radio station. And then while I was doing that, I realized like every hour of that particular day, they would have different segments of different like family life and so forth.
Wow, yeah.
And I would listening on it, and I would start buying their product.
Wow.
So that I could make myself better. And then doing that, listening, I realized that, man, because all of us as individual or environment influence us. Or we think, or we behave, or we act. And sometimes if you're not exposed to the other side, you don't know that something is wrong with you as an individual. You think that your way is perfect.
Right.
And then you start pointing finger on the other individual to say, well, something is wrong with that individual. Because you're always in a cocoon. You never came out of it before. You know, you just always in it. So you never see the flip side of where you are.
Right.
I think that for me was a big eye opener.
Right.
It taught me a lot of stuff in who I was.
Yes.
And how our marriage is, and what I could do to improve it as a human being. I had to be, and I'm still learning to be.
And also too, not just to add to what you're saying, Han, also too, from that, we both learned how men and women think so differently. Because we really didn't know. I thought he was the issue.
Problem.
He thought I was the issue. And we didn't know that some of these ways of communicating is just how females communicate versus how men communicate. And once we started to understand that took off, you know, a lot of the blame, a lot of the pointing the fingers.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Very good. Very good. So how did you feel as a man, you know, recognizing that you had these deficiencies?
You know what? It was a challenge because when you are as an individual, you're molded in a certain way, and then to go against what you're actually grew up in, it's going to cause. For instance, it's going to cause a lot of challenge for you because number one, if you're taught to write with your left, and then someone is going to teach you to write with your right, it's definitely this sign is like a handicap to you. Right. So to relearn things, it becomes quite a challenge.
Right.
One of the things for me why I really stayed the course, because I looked on my parents' relationship and I did not want that type of relationship for myself.
Right.
Or for Karen and I didn't want that.
Right.
And you know what? Honestly, I am not giving myself a pat on the back because I'm a person that really love God. And if it hadn't been for him subduing my spirit, it would have never happened. Because sometimes, Karen will tell you, I mean, my wife will not mince word. If if he has to lie to save my life, believe you me, I'm going to lose it. I'm going to lose my life.
That's true. That's true, Mano.
That's true, Sandra.
It was an eye opener for us, and because of that, we try to key in on these stuff that would actually be healthy for our marriage, and we started what do you call it now? purchasing all this material,
Nice.
learning more about
Yeah.
the opposite and learning what a marriage should look like.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that's pretty much what we did to help ourselves along the way.
Right. So
And
that's
I have to say too, like during the time when Donald was picking up that information, I was really praying because I was really at a loss for how this was going to work. And I personally really didn't think I was the problem. So
of course not.
Of course not, Karen.
We never think it's us.
Right. But God is so good because he shows you, he holds a mirror up to you and he shows you who you are. And, through prayer, I started to change too, because I realized that, I'm not perfect. I really did think I was perfect and he was, all the issues with Donald. So I realized that I am really not perfect. I'm very imperfect and there's a lot that I need to work on.
Yeah.
And so to be honest, Donald, to his credit, he is the one who initiated getting information and getting the education and educating himself about marriage and how to make it work. And then I got on board after.
Yeah.
So, but I don't think it would have been possible without, God orchestrating everything like that. So.
Yeah. That's great. That's great, Donald. Most guys wouldn't do what you did because of ego, machoism. There's nothing wrong with me. Nothing wrong with me. It's her. And maybe that's why a lot of relationships fail, right? Because we don't take the time to get the information we need to change ourselves, right? And then work on the relationship. Because it's a lot of work. It's a big commitment, and if I'm afraid of commitment, then a lot of us are missing the biggest work that we have to do in our life, right? To get ourselves right so we can be a loving husband and a loving wife. Right? Yeah. So that was great.
One of your viewers asks, can I ask you a question? You want to finish up your thought? And then
I was just going to say, as well as finding out information, from reading books and getting materials on marriage, we also went to therapy. So that's another way that you can educate yourself as well. Yes. We have been to therapy more than once throughout our marriage, just times when we are facing challenges. But I think if you can afford it and if you can go before you're even facing challenges, that is a good thing to do, because I think there's always ways that you can improve on your relationship, improve on your communication. And that is something that we value, getting information from experts.
Right. That's great. I think there is, I think it's changing, and I hope it is. Caribbean, Afro-Caribbeans, we have this thing about going to see psychologists or therapists and stuff like that. What was that like, Donald, of crossing that bridge?
You know what? I think because of the fact that I came here quite young. So when I came here and being in school here, learning different thing from a different culture perspective.
Where did you come from, Donald? Where did you come from?
My mind was pliable. So I could learn things and then accept it.
Yeah.
But I kind of understand where you're coming from, because even I got a good friend of mine. I love this gentleman. And Karen Carver said, man, I don't know, man, you're investing so much time. But I won't call any name anyway. But what I'm saying is that I always encourage this person to go and seek help, because everyone to a certain extent will have conflict in their marriage.
Yes.
Right? Encourage him to go and get it, but he's not going because, it's the same thing. The Caribbean, Black, don't believe that in that particular thing, in terms of getting outside help. No, I can fix it. I can fix it. And I see this, honestly, I see this happen so quite frequent. It's unbelievable. I even know, Karen and I even know people that is so close to us that just derail because they did not want to go into that direction to get help. What's wrong with doing that? I say, it's just like you have it's just like you being an accountant you study accountant. I don't know anything about accountants.
Right.
If I need my taxes to get done, I'm going to come to you because that's not my expertise.
Right.
And I'm saying it's the same thing. No, they can't tell me nothing that I don't. Man, I know what I'm doing. I'm saying, no, you don't, because if you did, you wouldn't be in this mess.
That's right.
Exactly. Like everything, or say everything, just so that they won't go. And I'm just saying, the ego is always there. And I'm just saying, I think would do anything to make it work.
Yeah, I think it's shame too. Shame, and maybe that sense of learned helplessness. I'm just going to sit in my mess and not say nothing, suffer in silence.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, but I'm grateful that you guys did what you did at such a young age. Inspired, really, because the mindset you had at that point in time, and you know, conscious, and I think you have a student approach, a learning approach towards marriage. Hey, Sandra?
Yes, and they still do, and that's why it's so refreshing to even listen to what you're saying. You're taking responsibility. I love what Donald said. I don't know everything, so and this is why I was open to get help, because I love my wife, and I want my marriage to work, and we want to grow old together. He said that all the time. We're growing old together. That's it. And as you say, Aaron, it's a mindset. It's having that mindset. What's more important? Right. Is it important to hold on to my ego and my machiness, or my marriage and my wife or my children are more important? I think it's an amazing statement for our fellow Caribbean and black people to hear, and a lot of black folks believe in counseling. Counseling helps, and counseling and prayer. We know we pray. We know we get help. We know we bounce off. And I must say this: having girlfriends or guy friends who are godly people, who are honest people, who will tell you the truth, like you're doing with your friend. That's a plus, and I know that's what Karen has that. I would say I'm not married, and I'm not a marriage counselor. I can't counsel nobody in marriage, but I can tell you the truth.
and you certainly have told me the truth.
That I can do. I can listen and tell you the truth, and that I do. And everybody you need those people in your life. Somebody that will listen and not jump on a bandwagon with you to fuss or cause strife in your marriage, but to tell you the truth. Say, girl, stop it. Right. Behave yourself. What you're saying don't make no sense. You need to do this. Go do that. And for the girl to just curl up and say, yeah, you know what you said to me was so true. We all need that. It's such a powerful conversation.
Definitely.
Somebody asked, they said, how did you guys know that you were for each other, or you were meant for each other? How did you guys actually know that?
Yeah, I saw that question. I'm glad that you asked it, because I think it's important to touch on. I'll be honest with you. I don't think I knew. I don't think I was that deep to know that, like, I don't even know if there's such a thing, to be honest with you, as meant for each other. I think that's a very romanticized view of marriage. And although marriage can be very romantic, there is a lot of practicality to it too. So I don't know that we were meant for each other. All I know is that we loved each other very deeply, and we still love each other very deeply. So I think people like focus on whether you're meant for each other or not meant for each other, because, you know, that will determine how much you should work on the relationship or not, you know, like just because something, you know, I think if we say that it's meant to be, that takes away the need to work. And it doesn't matter if you are a very compatible married couple or you're not, you still have to put in a lot of work. And you still have to constantly reevaluate yourself. You constantly have to examine yourself, examine your partner, and examine your marriage, where you're at, and what you'd like to see improve. That doesn't go away. And I don't know if there's a clean answer for that. So in the big scheme of things, I do think that God always has a plan. Yes. But I also know that we can make mistakes in life. And in those mistakes that we make, God can still redeem those mistakes to bring about good. So I don't know. I really don't know if we were meant to be. I really don't know. I do think in some ways that we were meant to be, just because of how we aligned and came together, because of how we met, because of things that have happened to us over the years, and because we're good, we have been good for each other. We have helped each other to grow. We have helped each other to overcome challenges and difficulties. So I think that makes us, I guess, meant to be together. But I just don't want people to focus on the word meant to be together. I think we need to focus more on if a relationship is a healthy relationship or not a healthy relationship. And if it's not, how can we get the relationship to be healthier?
Yeah.
Perfect. Wow.
Well,
love that.
I love that. Healthy or not healthy. Because I would speak from personal experience that you and I, you know this, that I have been in a marriage that was very unhealthy, and you cry with me and pray with me, and I had to close that door. Did I want to? No, but did I have to? Yes. So I like how you top that off. Is this marriage healthy or unhealthy? So it's not if we're meant together to be together or not. Is it healthy or is it unhealthy? Is it just about to take your life, or can you? Are you able to get healing, or are you able to get help? Are the two parties willing to do the work? I love this conversation. I think this is amazing, because I don't want people who have been divorced or who have been going through a lot of struggles right now feel like, oh wow, they're not really speaking for me. But you said it. We could end with that. Is your relationship healthy or is it unhealthy? Because if it's unhealthy, then you need to see a doctor. And that's what Donald was talking about. And if the person, if two people has the sore, so two people has to go. So if one person is saying, I need to see a doctor, and the other person is saying, well, I'm good, then that's another story. Because it's going to take two people to see the doctor. And
yeah.
And you know what? And that is why it's vital. It's paramount for us. Anyone, when I use the word us, I'm just generalizing. For people that in a relationship, it doesn't matter what relationship you're in, you have to cultivate the skill of self-reflect. And I'll tell you why. Because in a marriage or in any relationship, you always will have conflict. Conflict never goes away. Conflict is good in a relationship, and I'll tell you why. But too much is not good. I'll tell you why conflict is good. Conflict refresh your relationship. It gives you the what do you call it now? The feeling of actually working to improve constantly, because you're never going to reach to a point where you never need improvement. So what it does, it refreshes your marriages.
Right.
But it must be balanced, and also you have to know how to deal with conflict, because it's going to come. And part of this whole entire thing, conflict, it is something to, what do you call it, to mold your character, because I don't know any human being that is not selfish. When you get into a marriage, it's going to teach you the opposite of being selfish. That's what it's going to do. So what it's actually doing, it's giving you a new character as an individual. Some of us don't like when those stuff is being pulled out of us to make us a better person. And that is the reason why a lot of us give up. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I never felt like I want to give up. Of course. When it's being extracted from my character, I don't like that. But you know what? It makes me a better person today. It does.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow, you guys have gained a lot of wisdom over the last 23 years. And like Donald said, you're going to continue to grow. It's very inspiring to hear your story and to see how you guys how you're making it work. You're learning, you're growing, you're getting new information, and you're keeping the relationship. You continue to renewing it, right? And staying together. So it's amazing. Karen, I love the help that you have to help each other grow. You know, that I think is very very powerful. And I think, you know, in our early years, we get caught up in this romantic stuff, right? You know, but the reality is down the road, you know, are you going to help me with my trauma? Am I willing to invest the time to get rid of my trauma so I can be a better person and grow? Yes. And you have to be open. To be open to that and free up the ego and stop being controlled by the pain and the fear and just put it all on the table and confess it to each other, right?
Yeah.
These are my fears. This is what I'm afraid of.
Yeah.
You know, and be vulnerable. Like Sandra always says, get naked.
Get naked.
Exactly.
You know,
strip it off.
Yeah.
Totally transparent.
Do you guys think we're kind of out of time? We really have to continue this conversation. I love it, and I'm almost at the brink of crying. I'm tearing up inside. It's just so powerful, and I just learned so much tonight from you guys. And I lift my hat to you guys.
Yes.
You guys
thank you so much for having us.
A powerful.
I know how much I love Donald. Donald, she can't touch you. She know how much I love you. She knows she can't touch you, right?
Oh my goodness.
And because of how she speaks of you, I love you so much. And, but I want to ask a quickie question just before because our time is up. We have 2 minutes. But I want to know is it because you guys have developed such a great friendship? Why you think it's so easy to bounce off each other and help each other grow? Is it because you weren't just lovers marrying and being thrown into this thing, or is it because you guys were more friends and have become even deeper friends over the years? Do you think?
I would say definitely. Yeah, definitely. We started off as friends before we were even in a relationship. You know, in a romantic relationship. We were friends first. And I really deeply cared about Donald and his well-being as a person, as another human being, before I cared about him in a romantic sense. So that is really at the core of everything, because when you care about somebody on that level, you want to see the best for them. So the decisions that you make in the marriage, it's not just about what's best for you, it's also about what is best for them. And that's kind of the cycle that you're always going through.
Yeah. So leave. We're done. Oh my goodness. I don't want to stop, but we have to. So
you can come back anytime you guys invite us back again.
Oh, so. we sure will. I'd like to hear Donald talk some more on the wisdom that he's gained over the last 23 years. I know he's got a lot to say. But
I would like to hear him talk more too.
Because naturally I'm a lot leader, so I have to be cognizant of the fact that I gotta cut it short every time because my wife will give me the cue.
So, any last words, guy? Last words for our viewers? What are a tip, takeaway? What would you say? Go for it, Karen.
Wow. I would say love conquers all. Love really does conquer all. But that's the discovery. That's the discovery. What is love, right? What is love? And when we find out what is love, it's not this romanticized idea, but love really does conquer all.
Mm-hmm. Wow, powerful. Donald.
Yeah, definitely. It does. And, in the real sense of love, because in the English term, because the English author could not actually go from the origin. So what they would normally do is just add one word, love. But love is just more than one word. If you break it down, it's three. So we know love will take you anywhere you want to go, and it's patient, kind, and gentle. So when you're an individual and you understand that concept, it can take you very far. It can take you so far.
You should
never imagine.
Wow.
Far. Wow. Aaron.
I can't say anything after those two words of wisdom from those two, man. But yeah, love. I would just add, truly authentically loving yourself. When you get to that place, then you're on a path to make your whole life beautiful.
Definitely.
Yeah, that love is important too. Yeah. Definitely. Self-love.
And I would like to say honesty. Come honest. Come naked. Come honest and naked to the table. I don't know this. I need help here. I need help there. And then you should be okay. We're out of time. It was so beautiful talking.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys so much for having us.
For having us, man.
It's great.
Anytime. We gotta have you.
Fantastic.
There was not enough time.
I can't believe an hour is gone already.
An hour is done already. We need another hour. So plan for coming back. We have to continue this conversation.
Definitely.
I want to talk a little bit more on all the spicy stuff. How do you say? Yeah, we want to touch on that.
We can come back and do that. We can definitely come back and do that.
Awesome.
Yeah. Guys, good night. Good
Right,
night.
good night, guys.
Thank you all for watching.
Thanks for watching. See you
We
next
love
week.
you.
Definitely.
Thank you all for watching. We really do appreciate it. Blessings.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Byond exists to define purpose through holistic mentoring. At Byond, we will assist you to achieve success, enjoy inner peace, and live your best life. Basically, we're here to inspire you to heal and transform. Byond umbrella consists of Byond Talk, Byond Virtual Learning Space, Byond Coaching and Mentoring Services, and Byond Online Shop. For more information, visit us at www.sandraturgott.com or contact us at byondonline@gmail.com.
I just know
Yak TV.